Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to WeAwake. And I've started meditating before I'm supposed to. Okay, in training rather before I'm supposed to. So, yeah, we're working on this. Is our 13th anniversary for iAwake, so we're all kind of reflecting, and wow, it's been quite a ride. So, amazing. Yeah, it feels like for me several lifetimes of experience have been in that period of my life. So today we're going to do track 2 from the collection which we call NeuroFlow. And this was created by Eric Thompson. He's one of the co-founders of iAwake. And it's good stuff. This track is, I believe it is a mix of alpha and theta. So it is created to, this is called Calm, by the way, track 2. Created to for focus, but at the same time relaxation. And that is just where it's at when we get into those states of flow or deep meditation, where we're completely relaxed, but yet we're completely alert at the same time. And one time in one of my earlier journeys, a spiritual experiences, the voice that sometimes comes, said the gospel is pay attention. Wrote that down. The gospel is pay attention. What does that mean? So anyway, that is continued to inform me in my practice over all these years. And we are not always able just to stop thinking. Try it sometime. And often we'll just start thinking about not thinking, So, but over time in practice, we get to the stages where we can just, the thoughts, thinking is an option, but not necessary. You just kind of turn off the thoughts, and then you're there with that just pure awareness. And even if you can't stop your thinking, that's okay too, because that's the time to practice. And the practice is just watching your thoughts, watching what arises in this vast spaciousness that is connected to the great mystery that is even the word universe seems limiting to what is. Okay. And so paying attention and just watching it, and you get to the place, okay, well, I have my thoughts and I have my feelings, and I'm not, but in some level I'm just observing it. So something is going on here. I'm here, but I'm not attached to that. So if there's a kind of an independent function, then maybe I am more than my thoughts and my feelings and all of that stuff. And that's a stage, and it's really good. You start, you discover a new freedom, and it actually helps us to process the feelings. And one of the big breakthroughs for me when I started using this technology, I don't know, maybe 17 years ago. I think I was using it a few years before we even thought of iAwake, and was the ability to be with the trauma and then the grief that was keeping me down, and allow it to be there, but without getting lost in it. It's like the field of awareness has expanded, and I was that pure awareness, but I was also the grief and the hurt and all of that stuff too. But somehow in expanding and relaxing into just that state of awareness, I was able to get through a lot of stuff that was really, really basically killing me. And so, and I found that this is sometimes we have to learn these lessons over and over again, but I found that negative feelings and hurt and grief and feeling the suffering not only of yourself but of all human beings, all sentient beings, all. And then the pan psychics say that everything is consciousness, everything has consciousness, everything is consciousness. So when we feel that, if we try to do that in our small little self, which is also sacred, by the way, little John and little you, that is also God, by the way. So don't worry about it. Well, you can worry, but just take care of it, okay? Honor it. That allows us to process, and it's a good thing. But sometimes in this expanded awareness, when we and this is a big lesson for me because I am a sensitive guy, and I have not been able not very successfully anyway, just to turn off the suffering part of reality that we're in. It has well, it saved my life, and all of that energy that we run from can be transformed into basically light, if you will. And God created light in the very beginning. Expanded consciousness, which, when you get down to it, is truly the direction that we need to go in as human beings, as a species, is our expanded consciousness, is bringing all the stuff that we've learned and into a level that includes the recognition of who and what we are. And even if it's too big to wrap our little human brains around, but our little human brains are really something they can wrap around a lot. Being aware of that and identifying that can change everything, and helps us to do the proper work that we need on ourselves, whether it's getting through our trauma. And we all have trauma, right? Whether it's going through the birth canal or being lifted out of your mother's womb, the cesarean, whatever. It's all pretty traumatic stuff. And eventually, if we stay on the path, we have to process that. We have to do that. And that shifts into energy of God, if you will, light, love. And the interesting thing, one of the interesting things about light, in the creation stories, we talk about light being the first thing that was manifest. But light can't be manifest unless there's something for light to bounce off of, to reflect on. Light in and of itself is invisible. So I guess we were, one of the reasons, or one of the functions that we have as children of that primordial light, which is ever present all the time, is that we make that manifest by our actions and by our consciousness and by our deeds and by our love and by our joy and by all that we give back to life. So anyway, today we are doing Calm. As I said before, Eric Thompson was the creator. This is one of our early tracks. It's approximately a half hour. So how does one do this? Let's go through the basics. Sit up straight, right? And if you don't have, if you have physical problems or you're sick, it's okay. But get your spine straight, and that seems to Does a lot of things. It helps you stay alert. It helps the energy to flow. It helps all the different energy systems to be in alignment. And it lets your body and your mind know that, hey, this is sacred time. This is meditation time. Okay. Yeah, and you might, when you want to start, this really helps me. It, just count to 5 backwards. And just 5, relax. When you say relax, feel the relaxation in your shoulders, in your legs, jaw, top, your eyes, forehead. Just feel that relaxation. 4, relax. 0, relaxation. And then be aware. Okay. So see you on the flip side. And God bless you guys. Let's do this. Wow. Welcome. I'm not sure we didn't go anywhere. We never do. We're always here, whether we're asleep or in Europe or in the United States or in the Philippines, China. So, what's his name to say? But here we are. And yeah, a long time ago, when I was, you know, I think I've always been consciously on the path, spiritual path, since I was 11 years old when I had my first big experience. But I was talking to a Buddhist teacher, and I was just becoming familiar. Well, I don't think I'd ever actually met a real Buddhist. I'd read about him, and so I had a Buddhist teacher. I can't remember the context where I was at it might have been at the transpersonal psychology conference, like the first time it was in Carmel, California. My first time I ever got together with people who didn't think I was a complete nutcase because of what I was pursuing in my life. And, and it's Buddhism, the noble truth that desire, craving is the root of suffering. And so I said, I desire God so bad, but sometimes it hurts. I can get that. He said, well, that's not what we're talking about. That kind of desire is just fine. We're talking about drugs and sex and alcohol and power and ego and all this stuff. Yeah, and sometimes the way we interpret Buddhism, it's just like very literal, and we're just supposed to, come these blank things that has no desire or anything like that. Well, not so much. Look at the story of Buddha. He was, the story goes, there's a caste system in India, and I don't know what's going on with that anymore, but I'm sure the traces are still there, if not there. And he was one Brahmin class, but he was the warrior class, so that's pretty high up there. And his family didn't want him to experience any like death, aging, disease, poverty, all of this stuff, for whatever reason. Oh, because when he was born, there was a prophecy. Either he's going to be like this great sage, or he's going to be this great military leader, king, conquer the world or whatever. So I think they were trying to keep him on that path, but somehow he got out of the wall area, separated from the rest of life. And he saw an old man, he saw beggars and all this stuff. He got this, yikes. So he wanted to find the answers to that. He wanted to become enlightened. He had an incredibly powerful desire to wake up. And so he went through 7 years, the story goes, all these living out in the woods and ascetic practice, living 1 grain of rice a day and standing on 1 foot and just doing all these incredible things, difficult things in order to wake up. And finally, his journey took him to the Bodhi tree. That's where he just sat under the tree. That's where he had his experience. That's where he woke up. And yeah, so what I guess I'm going to say is, like, if your desire is to be a better person, to be more compassionate, be of greater service, to realize God. And when I say that, I come from kind of a God-centric tradition, okay, and that's okay. And I've danced with a lot of different traditions, because we live in that time where we can do that, like any generations before us. It's all accessible to us. yeah, so when I say God, it's, you could say enlightenment, you could say samadhi, you could say whatever. And these are all waking up, round of being, ultimate kind of consciousness kind of realization. And as our friend H.A. Almas, or Hamid, tells us, that all of these waking up experiences are valid, they're equally valid. You know, so when my little 11-year-old thing where I found God is everywhere, yikes, and God is love, wow, right? That's just as valid as if I'd had a Buddhist type of thing of realizing emptiness, or however that is. You know, it's all because what we're trying to describe in our human experience is infinitely profound. And just sometimes when the scales fall from our eyes and we can just see into that great sacred, that's my new phrase that I'm trying to explain what I've experienced. It's yeah, you could never be the same. Something changes when you can go back, and it's very hard. You know, nowadays we have so much stuff. You know, we're so connected, and we had none living with Pam and I for about a year, and he came from Honduras. He was from the Garifuna tribe, which is a tribe down in Central America, and they were, I mean, they're of African origin. They're black folks, and they had their own language, and they got away from the. I'm smiling because it's a great story, not because it's a great subject, but they got away from the slave sellers or the people that brought them over, and they got free, and so they have their own language, and they also speak Spanish. And our young friend also learned English really quickly. He was a smart guy, but he was, you know, came from this physically impoverished area, yet he was able to speak with his mom and sister every day on their little phones. You know, so I mean, it was like, my God, our experience have changed so much, and the question is whether we can survive this time of just technological evolution just spinning out of control to AI and all these things. And now we have the James Webb telescope that's out 1 million miles from Earth, sending us back pictures of things we've never seen before, ever. And there they are. And it's a lot of our assumptions and theories about the nature of things are not quite holding up. And so the mystery keeps growing and growing. So given all the stuff we have, I mean, I think that's an amazing piece of technology, and we should be proud as human beings that we pull that one off, you know. But can we stay focused on that essential desire that is embedded as people that hunger for awakening, that hunger for God, that hunger for deep love, that hunger for realization, whatever language, and not get buried in all the stuff? And we can hold that stuff in a way to realize that's all a manifestation of the creativity of the universe and God too, if you will. And there's probably planets all over the place that are doing, you know, been on the same path. I mean, life just comes out of, you know, and they say that even the smallest photons and all this stuff, the panpsychics, the scientists say they're conscious. So it's all conscious. So that everything is just kind of inert and dead in this huge universe. It's no, not an easy sell for me. So anyway, so honor that desire to awake, that desire to find the meaning of life, if you will, to experience that, to experience emptiness or fullness or God or Tankashila, whatever word you use, and honor that and to make time with it. And when you feel that longing and feel that hurt, that's okay. That's like when I was a wilderness guide, we used to make fires using friction method, either bow drill or hand drills. And we get to that point where just before the smoke starts coming up, and you're getting right there. Well, when you get that spark in your soul, blow on it, feed it, give it fuel, so that it becomes a fire that will consume and transform you and the world around you. And whatever we do to ourselves, we do to us all. We've learned that from quantum physics too. It's non-causality. That is not limited by space-time. This thing over here can affect that thing on the other side of the galaxy, and no way to connect that. See how it just does. So yeah, that's a good one. So blow, get that spark, ignite that, feed it, be faithful to it. And if you go through times of darkness and despair where you don't feel it, that's okay too. That's part of the journey. That's what gives it its nobility. If it were easy, everybody would do it. And we do it when we're ready. But when you're ready, honor it. And honor the times when you don't feel it, when you don't sense it. Because you know what you know, and you've experienced it. But in the times that we don't feel it, in the times that we feel lost, in the times we feel alone, and we don't feel the connection to that beautiful tree behind it, to the world, know that, well, that keeps us in touch with the rest of the human family, right? And all the other people, who aren't feeling, who don't get it, or are hungry or lost, or they don't even know what they're looking for yet. I mean, they don't even know how to find it. But and one of the original things, verses that was there when I had my first experience of God when I was must have been 67 or 68, was Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount. King James Version is what I had. And he said, "Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness." So blessed are they. So when you feel the longing, when you feel the desire, when you feel the lack, when you feel that vacuum in your soul for deeper connection and deeper realization and conscious experience of the sacred, honor it, blow on it, give it fuel, do what you can, because ultimately that flame is a mystery. That flame is God, and all we can do is what we can do. And one little last thing that I've been going out every day. I've been going out into the wilderness around here in southern Utah. It's a vast, expansive area that I'm in with my dog. And we've been going out to this huge, vast plains called the Awapa Plateau or the Aquarius Plateau. And there are pronghorn sheep out there, herd of them, individual ones. And they are, according to theory, to human knowledge, they're the second fastest land animals in the world. Right there with cheetahs. I mean, right under cheetahs, but probably in a long distance, in a mile, the pronghorns would win. So anyway, my dog runs off, and I can see her for about a mile. She disappears behind us, and then I see these pronghorn herds kind of gently loping away. And I said, well, she must have found him. And then she comes out. She's, you know, she's a pit bull, a lot of her. So she's muscular and she has a little leg. She's really fast in the short thing, but she's just after these pronghorn sheep who are not really worried and not taking it very seriously. They're just going to along. And I've seen them when they're really turn it on. They're amazing. But Tatum, my dog, her desire, right, because it's built into her, you know, they used to be wolves, all of the dogs. And so her desire for these animals are just so pure, and she puts such effort, you know. And that's what I feel like sometimes with God. I'm this little pit bully guy who has a big heart, and big desire, and big hunger. But I'm never going to catch the pronghorn sheep unless the sheep just turns around and goes, hey, what's happening? Or God just opens up to me, you know. But I think the effort, the purity of the effort and the desire is a noble thing, a good thing, and will keep us on the track, you know, keep us on the path. And sometimes we have to go way off and do lots of things and experience lots of stuff. But eventually, you know, either this lifetime or the next time or the next time, whenever we get to the point where we have to, okay, and acknowledge it, you know, eat it. So be faithful to your practices to cultivate that divine spark, and you know, listen to the wise ones. Really good. Words are not just words. Words are, our ancestors thought that language was magic, and it is. And written language is amazing, and it can become windows. It can transfer energy and lights up. So honor our teachers and the wise ones, and they're there, either living or dead. They're there. I could just name so many people that are I've been so blessed with. So anyway, blow on that spark, honor that spark, and even honor the times when you don't feel it, because that's where we connect with others who are suffering, others who are feeling that disconnection and that emptiness, and that this is not enough. This is not okay. I want that. So when you're in that place, send up prayers to them, what I'd say. And thank Spirit for all that she gives us. So yeah, so do your little thing, chase your longhorn sheep, and know that not all desire is bad. Okay, bad desire is bad. That's, you know, that's pretty simple, but and good desire is good. So honor it, bless it, listen to it, feed it, be present with it, and ask for help. That's a really good one too. Whether it's from other human beings or just from God, just okay, help. So anyway, thank you guys for being here again. And yeah, we've been doing this together for 13 years now. So that's an amazing accomplishment. And it's been you who have kept me doing this. The reports we get back, that how much it's helping and the good it's doing. So thank you. God bless you for that. And I will cease to speak now.